I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. This is a very personal, very embarrassing, but I believe or at least hope to be a very common situation that I'm sharing with you here. My family and I moved back to Istanbul from Kars when I was 9. My family tried and failed to start a factory there, and before we came back, I took some stones from the garden of the factory building. They were not beautiful or special in some way, they were just some stones. This is my first hoarding story that I can remember. I don't remember what happened to the stones. What is hoarding? Collecting what is counted as hoarding, or at what level? There are distinctions made by researchers between collectors, functional hoarders, and non-functional hoarders. But who decides what is worth keeping? It is said one person's obsessive hoarding is another person's rational investment strategy, or his acquisition of tools and materials required for some enthusiasm. It is said hoarding is not just a matter of collecting or even excessive collecting. Hoarding exposes the architectural effects of excess and how they constitute a specific modality of architectural production and work. It pulls focus away from use and representation, and because interior is not created by walls or such boundaries, but it is created by the order, array, and number of objects within, it can be speculated that through hoarding some kind of architecture is produced. Several years ago, there was a trend of buying clothes in smaller sizes as a motivator for weight loss, and I am a victim of this trend. It urged me to buy clothes that I liked very much but cannot find in my size, in the hope of wearing them someday. I still have some of those clothes. I feel guilty that I buy into the opinion that if I was thinner I'd be happier, and hence my worth, and I feel guilty I'm a part of such a consumption, and yet this is not a habit I managed to shake off. It is said consumption is related to evolution. We have evolved to display traits that clue others into high status by showcasing the behavioral attributes relevant to it with hopes of gaining a reproductive advantage. It is said capitalism was born from a desire for liberty and prosperity. It freed people from the bonds of feudal oppression and enabled us to lay a claim to our own destinies. Some say capitalism is premised on the law of supply and demand. This law assumes that every consumer rationally evaluates each purchase that they make using a cost-benefit analysis, and even some believe that capitalism is the solution to climate change. Others believe consumers are irrational and ask what else can explain that continuous need to acquire, the eternal power of fashion, and the attraction of things. It is said that waste within consumer society is seen as dysfunctional, but also it is said wasteful, superfluous consumption allows people and society to feel that they exist, that they are truly alive. Shoes are my wasteful, superfluous consumption. And because shoe sizes do not generally change during adulthood, my collection of shoes has been growing. Another point of view is that consumption is not an enjoyment or a pleasure, but rather something which is institutionalized, forced upon us, a duty. We must be trained, we must learn to consume. And I am a failed soldier. At least I can never be as bad as Imelda Marcos.